Hey everyone, so with the start of Season 3 of Go Battle League, I've been getting a lot of questions about what lines are good for this season. And with the nerf of Registeel's moves and the increase of Galleon Stunfisk, I found that the old Skarmory and Double Grass line is actually really strong in the current meta. Azumarill is more present than ever, so you're going to see a lot of that still. Overall, the movesets I've been using are about the same. The only difference is I swapped out Flash Cannon for Brave Bird. You'll see in this video that I do use it at least once where it comes in handy. So looking at a bunch of different matchups, Galleon Stunfisk lead is not the greatest, but I think overall the grass has a little bit more play against this than Registeel. So my opponent comes in with a hard counter of Shadow Machamp, and so this is going to really hurt Shiftry, but if they're a little bit slower to swap, you get to 2 Leaf Blades, and as you can see, it does quite a bit of damage with that second Leaf Blade. And then now I'm just going to come in with my Skarmory, tank the charge move. Likely it'll be probably a Rock Slide. It's going to do a decent amount of damage, but it's okay because I'm up a shield now, and I'm going to tank this Rock Slide as well. And it's going to be only a neutral, and then I'm going to come in with my Mechanicum. And so usually what I've noticed is that if my opponents are not swapping out right away, they're probably weak to Mechanicum in the back. So I charge up a little past the Earthquake, and I'm getting ready to drop 2 Frenzy Plants. So they do shield the first one, and then they bring in their Azu. And so of course, like I said, it's likely that they're weak to Mechanicum in the back, and Azu pretty much has no play against this entire team unless it's matched up against Skarmory in the front. And then I have, I think still 2 shields left. And then, yeah, so it's going to put me in a really good spot. I'm going to charge up to an Earthquake to make sure that I ensure the victory, and then drop it on the Stunfisk. So the good news about Stunfisk and yeah, is mainly that it takes neutral from grass versus Registeel is taking resisted. So even if you don't land the Earthquake, you still do quite a bit of damage. Yeah, and so they're going to come in with their Mechanicum, and they must be really weak to Shiftry in the back to bring in Mechanicum, because Mechanicum doesn't win this matchup in most situations, and especially because I came in with energy advantage. So I'm going to just go straight foul plays right here, and then I'm going to have to shield one of these Frenzy Plants. So I'm going to shield this one, and then I'm going to charge up a little extra energy. And the main reason why I shielded it, even though Skarmory has such a great lead advantage against Mechanicum, it's mainly because I want to win that switch advantage so that I can match up my Mechanicum with their Stunfisk. Because it's possible they have something else in the back that Mechanicum is weak to. Alright, so they're going to stay in, drop the Rock Slide. I don't have to worry about shielding any of this for now. I'm going to charge a little bit extra just in case they end up shielding or a potential Earthquake. Or at this point too, I'm just going to charge up a little extra anyway, just because they probably have a next Pokemon in the back that I need to drop energy on. Alright, and then I'm going to drop this Frenzy Plant, and they don't shield, and it ends up being another Azu. So again, Azumarill, always a very staple Pokemon in Great League, which is why this team is particularly good against it. I am going to shield this Ice Beam and then drop the Frenzy Plant and then swap to my Skarmory to avoid any additional farming. Because those bubbles are resisted, they could get quite a bit of energy off of me, and then doesn't really matter what this is, there's no way that this Azu can take me out. And then, yeah, just finish off with Air Slash. So even losing the lead here is not a big deal overall. Kind of similar to the original Skarmory with Double Grass line. Losing the lead wasn't the worst case scenario. So Altaria is interesting. Altaria is a little bit more rare these days because of Abomasnow increase as well as Galleon Stunfisk. Altaria was really great back in the old meta because it could beat Registeel and 2 shields. But I'm just going to able to force a shield out here, and then I'm going to just come in with Skarmory. And Skarmory, I can just go straight Air Slash down. I don't need a shield right here. This is the biggest threat to my team, unless they have like a fire Pokemon in the back, like a little Marowak. I am going to drop the Brave Bird just to do a little extra damage and then bring in the Mechanicum. So obviously it's resisted, but and they're going to quit out right there. My guess is they probably had an Azu in the back. Alright, the dreaded and annoying Shadow Victory Bell Deoxys Defense Bastiodon line. Not a fun line to deal with if you have the wrong counters. Luckily, Skarmory and Double Grass still counters it pretty well. So I bring in Mechanicum. Even though Mechanicum has a great matchup against Bastiodon, I don't really want to be in a situation where my opponent double shields their Deoxys Defense and counters down my Shiftry. And that's always a fear of mine, so I am going to match shields right here and try to win out this match. Yeah, it's a little bit of lag right there, unfortunately. So my opponent actually does switch to Bastiodon. So I'm going to swap to my Shiftry. This will ensure that I can maintain switch advantage. This is going to be a little bit tricky because this Bastiodon could, well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But taking that Frenzy Plant actually made it a little bit harder to play the Bastiodon. So I'm going to let this go. And then I'm going to come in with my Skarmory and farm down. And so I can farm quite a bit of energy because they're really resisting these air slashes, which means that I'm going to be able to get a ton of energy off of this Bastiodon. And then at this point, Shadow Victory Bell, there's really not much they can do here. I could just farm down if they didn't swap in their Deoxys Defense. And then they actually shield, so I just go for a quick swap. It wasn't really necessary, but just went for it anyway. And then now I can go for a Brave Bird to really finish it off. Yeah, so you're not going to struggle against this line, and if you're like me and hate playing against it, well, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You're going to love seeing it, actually. All right, Abomasnow. So Abomasnow is actually pretty solid against the backline. However, what I noticed is a lot of people that like to use Abomasnow lead with it. So I am going to stay in right here. Obviously, I'm in a positive matchup. And then I drop the Sky Attack. And then I'm going to have to shield the second Weather Ball. Otherwise, it's going to take me out. But after that, I should be able to just farm down. They do go for a quick swap to Deoxys Defense. So it's actually pretty good because now I could drop Brave Bird. And then they do shield, so that's actually really solid because now I'm in a position where I could just drop the Foul Play and do quite a bit of damage against this Deoxys Defense. With shields, Deoxys Defense and Shiftry is not a great matchup. And then I was able to get to another Leaf Blade as well. So let's see what they bring in. Probably going to be Abomasnow. Ends up being an Azu, so again, Azu in the back. Can't do much against this team, you know, unless his shield's down, they're going against like a Shiftry. You're not going to be in a good place. Okay, so they're going to drop Nice Beam right here, and then I'm anticipating potentially a swap, so I quickly swap to my Skarmory, and now I'm going to tank this Weather Ball. And then now I'm going to just Vine Whip down and drop the next Frenzy Plant with still a shield to go. So yeah, so if you hate playing Azus like me, well, this is another great team for you. All right, Machamp. Machamp lead obviously is a good situation for this line. However, Machamp dishes out damage pretty quickly, especially if it's a Shadow variant. So I'm not going to shield this because it's probably going to be a cross drop, and I know I can survive it. They do swap out real quick, and so here I'm going to just go in with the Mechanicum. I guess I could have gone in with Shiftry, but I like Mechanicum a little bit more because you could tank these Rock Slides without really needing to ever really shield, and you just have a lot of play against Stunfisk with when you have energy and you have shields up. So they're not going to shield right here. I'm going to charge up a little bit more and then drop another Frenzy Plant. Always want to charge up a little bit more if you can because these mud shots are going to be resisted. And then now I should have enough energy to get to a Frenzy Plant in time against Machamp. It's just going to force out shield from them. And then I remember that I still have close to a Sky Attack on my Skarmory, if not Sky Attack ready. So I'm going to drop this and potentially could force out their last shield, and it does. And then they swap out to Cresselia. Cresselia versus a no shield Cresselia versus a 2 shield Shiftry, a very good spot to be in. So I'm going to shield whatever this is. It might be a Moonblast, but it's probably a Grass Knot Bait. So this is going to be a Grass Knot Bait, but it's all good. Now I'm going to charge up extra energy right here so that I have a Leaf Blade ready for the Machamp, and then we're going to drop the Leaf Blade. They are going to get to the Charge Move first, so I let it go, and then surprisingly I could actually still survive the cross drop. If it was a Shadow Machamp, then definitely not, but I figured I still had the Skarmory in the back. So I could be fine right there. So these are some early battles in Season 3. That's why I was ranked 4. But I just want to get this video out as soon as possible for people to have something to use as I'm testing out other lines. Yeah, so Shadow Machamp, obviously quick swap out to Azumarill. I see a lot of videos of people playing this lineup differently sometimes. You always want to swap in Mechanicum when they swap in Azumarill as a safe swap, because it's gonna, you don't have to shield anything, and you'll come out with still a Frenzy Plant of energy left. People that swap in Shiftry are putting themselves in a worse situation because Shiftry, you do have to shield the Ice Beam, and yeah, you're just not able to farm up as much ahead of time too. All right, so now I'm in a very good spot, 2-0 shields against the Shadow Machamp. Obviously, this Rock Slide is going to do quite a bit, and then I anticipate it's going to be a counter, and it's going to be Bastiodon. Bastiodon, I feel like he's a little bit harder to take down than Galleon Stunfisk with Shiftry, but with 2 shields, you can still do it. Obviously, Bastiodon, very tanky Pokemon. So you're going to take, it's going to take quite a few Leaf Blades, but yeah, that shield advantage is no joke. And then I'm going to potentially finish it off here. Actually, I'm going to do something similar to... Okay, yeah, no, never mind. I do take it out right here. I thought I was going to just let it go and then just farm down Air Slash, but this is probably safer play, and I have the Sky Attack ready. So Shadow Machamp and just Machamps in general, definitely increasing in the meta, and so also a very good spot to go against with Skarmory. So this matchup, well, we'll see how it goes. I don't want to spoil anything, but my opponent plays this really well. So they're going with the cross chops. I don't shield, and my mistake was I probably should shield because I'm thinking this is like just like the regular Machamp, but we actually simultaneously KO right there. So now I'm in an interesting situation, and then they have the Abomasnow in the back. And so, like I said, Abomasnow is actually very good against the back line. Had I won that matchup and just shielded, I might have been able to match up with Abomasnow later down the road with Skarmory. So I was actually able to bait out with a Leaf Blade at least, because Abomasnow is pretty glassy, so I recognize that a lot of opponents need to shield. However, it is going to resist all this grass damage from my Mechanicum and definitely the Earthquake as well. So I'm just trying to farm up as much as I can because I don't know. I'm already in a tough spot, so hoping that there's a water type in the back. It is Azu, but the problem is Azu is very bulky, so you're going to need to drop 2 Frenzy Plants on it to take it out. And so I didn't want to farm too much because I didn't want to take too much bubble damage, so I undercharged a little bit right there, but unfortunately the Power Snows are just too much. So really well played by my opponent despite the losing lead. So something to keep in mind of, if your opponent stays in with Shadow Machamp, you want to make sure you match, you want to shield the charge moves because they might have something back, but also you just can't beat Shadow Machamp by tanking one of their moves. All right, I'm just throwing in this match just because people was like, well, what do you do against Shadow Fire Fang Mawile? There's not much you can do, to be honest. I've tried playing out the situation many times, and or not too many times, because I've actually never really run into it that often. This is the only time I actually ran into Shadow Fire Fang Mawile. So when people are like, oh, I'm always running into this, well, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's not that common of Pokemon, especially with Galleon Stunfisk around instead of Registeel now, and still plenty of Azus. Honestly, Shadow Mawile is not the greatest Pokemon to lead with, but against this team, it is just devastating. There's nothing you can do. So if you do run into that, you know, that's just going to be the outcome. I was able to take it out at least, but, you know, yeah, I got like 1 Pokemon with like a silver health left versus 2 in the back, so there's no way. All right, Stunfisk, I actually really love running into because pretty much I know that my Meganium in the back will wall off completely. So, and obviously they could come back and try to beat me against a Skarmory, but as long as I win switch advantage here, there's nothing that Stunfisk can do against my entire line, because I'm going to maintain switch advantage, and then depending on what happens afterward, well, we'll see what they have. But Skarmory and Meganium kind of balance each other out really well, and great swap by my opponent to bring in the Azumarill. And then now I bring in my Skarmory, and the reason why I bring in my Skarmory is not because it's a better matchup against Azumarill, but recognizing that there is that Stunfisk in the back, I don't want my Skarmory matched up against it. And I know that my Meganium is still going to have a lot of play against my opponent's Meganium as well as the Stunfisk, and they don't have shields. So yeah, so this is pretty much GG's. I'm going to drop the Frenzy Plant right here, and then this Stunfisk is not going to be able to do anything against my Meganium. You don't see Stunfisk too much these days, to be honest, at least not my opinion, but if you do run into it, no problem, even in the lead. All right, as you can see too, even though this is rank 4, running into a bunch of rank 10 poses and from last season as well as first season as well. So a lot of tough opponents here. It's just early on the season, but these are no joke players. All right, so I am going to drop a Brave Bird onto this Umbreon and then draw the Foul Play. So that's going to put me in a pretty solid spot right here. And then the fact that they're not switching out their Umbreons makes me think that they're pretty weak to grass in the back. So what I'm going to do here is shield and then farm up a little bit extra energy, because this means that they're really scared of my Shift Tree for some reason, and it's going to be low on Raichu, so that makes sense. And then I'm going to drop, unfortunately I wasn't able to get to the next charge move, but that's okay. So they throw a Wild Charge, and going to be very debuffed here. So I'm just going to farm down with Vine Whips, and then they're going to drop a Psychic. So yeah, kind of interesting. I guess they didn't have enough energy for a Psychic in the first one, and they now have a bunch of energy left, and then they put out. So my guess is they probably had a water type in the back, probably a Zumaro, and then that Umbreon was very low as well. All right, Alolan Marowak. So people were like, oh, what do you do against fires? Like, how do you beat it? So honestly, the main fire dealing Pokemon you usually see is Shadow, or Fire Flame Mawile in general, or Shadow variant, or Alolan Marowak, which is more common. So this team actually has a lot of play still against Alolan Marowak. So I do take it out right there, or almost take it out, and now I have a shield advantage. And then I'm going to come in with my Mechanicum. Unfortunately, I probably miscounted right here, so I wasn't able to shield the right move. And they bring in their Abomasnow. And so this is unfortunately not a great spot for me to be in, because that Abomasnow is still hard to take out. So I don't know if I actually win this one or not. I'm probably not, given the trajectory of this matchup. However, I'm probably going to go for Sky Attack. I'm hoping to string together 2 Sky Attacks. Yeah, which is honestly, it's okay in this situation, but I still can't really hang with this Abomasnow, unfortunately. But yeah, Alolan Marowak is not as hard to beat as you would think, just because Shift Tree does okay against it, and yeah, and its charge moves is going to be resistant on Shift Tree, and then Skarmory can kind of threaten it too. So I do lose that first one. Unfortunately, they have really great counters for me in the back. But let's see if I can win out this one or not, because you do end up running into probably a decent amount of Alolan Marowaks in the current meta. So I'm going to drop the Leaf Blade right here, and it's going to be a Galarian Zigzagoon, or Lanoon, sorry, which is kind of interesting. I've never played against one before, but I am going to resist their fast moves. I think they're running Shadow Claw, maybe? Yeah, I think Shadow Claw. I don't even know. Maybe it's Snarl. But anyway, I had a feeling I was resisting it. And then I kind of make a mistake here and overfarm a little bit. But it's not the end of the world. And then I am going to get taken out by this Alolan Marowak, unfortunately. Which is... Oh, actually, no. I actually do get the foul play off. So that was huge. I almost made a crucial error right there. But was able to kind of finish it off from that standpoint. And then now the biggest threat's gone. So let's see what they have left. And Galarian Lanoon is probably a little bit low too. All right, and then so they bring in their Stunfisk, and then I'm going to go straight for Earthquake in this situation, hoping that they just don't stack swap. So that's why I overcharge just by a little bit, just to be safe. And then I am able to land the Earthquake, and then now land another Frenzy Plant, just in case they hit me with a Rock Slide. And then now the Lanoon is going to be taken out. And they quit out the match. All right, so another Alolan Marowak. I've ran into them a couple times. I'm pretty much putting all the Alolan Marowak clips in here, so it's not like I'm selecting specific footage. These are most of my footage for the most part for my battles with this team. All right, so they bring in their Victory Belt, which is interesting, just kind of as a sacrifice. However, this is actually still a tricky spot for me to be in, because this Alolan Marowak still has a ton of play against the rest of my team, and they bait out with a Bone Club, so I'm going to shield this one just in case it's a Shadow Ball, and it is a Shadow Ball. So yeah, this is going to be interesting for sure. They actually let it go, which is very surprising. And then I'm going to bring in my Frenzy Plant, my Mechanicum right here, and maybe they just didn't realize that this is the line I was using, or maybe they thought confidently that they can still beat my line with 2 shields Azu, which is honestly not a bad spot for them to be in. They could definitely beat the Mechanicum, but they had to worry about the Skarmory. So they're going to drop the Ice Beam. I know that they're pretty much neutral on energy at this point, because most Azus just drop their energy as soon as possible and go straight for the Brave Bird. So like I said earlier, Brave Bird does come in handy, and in that situation, I don't think Sky Attack would have been enough. So Brave Bird was able to seal out that deal. So the lone Registeel that I did go up against, Registeel does make this matchup a little bit harder, and I'm going to shield. It is a Focus Blast, so it's a good call for me to shield. But the thing with Registeel is that it is a little bit weaker than before, just because they can't really bait out Flash Cannons as much. And then they bring in their Azu, which is kind of interesting, because that is really bad against a Shift Tree with energy. And the Shift Tree obviously had a lot of energy. And then so they let it go after. This is why you always want to charge with double if possible, because then you could potentially bait out shield and force them to drop both shields or kind of waste one of their shields. Alright, and then they bring in the Charm, so I can see why they did swap to what they did, but unfortunately, this puts me in a very good spot. I'm just going to go straight Earthquake right here. No need to bait, just because I know that with the shield advantage I have, I can still shield and then get to another Earthquake. And like I said, with the Flash Cannon nerf, it's going to take him a little bit longer to get to this next Flash Cannon. And yeah, so I can comfortably go straight for the Earthquake. I know that my switch clock is almost up. I might have to tank a Weather Ball here, but that's not the end of the world. I actually do stay in just to tank the Weather Ball, just so that I don't have to worry about getting hit by a Weather Ball with my Skarmory. But Skarmory, even if this Charm had energy, can still take out the Charm. Alright, Meganium lead, obviously a very good spot to be in, just because Meganiums have no play against Skarmory. And then they're going to switch in their Stunfisk, and then I'm going to go just straight, probably Frenzy Plant. You could always go Earthquake, but in my opinion, it's just not really worth the gamble. It's always good to charge up to Earthquake, but I don't usually drop it right away. Alright, and then especially given that they saw the lead matchup, they probably really want to win switch advantage, so I would be shocked if they don't shield here. So they do shield here, but the thing is, I still have my shields, and then I can just go straight Frenzy Plant right here. Let's see if they shield this or not. They don't. And then they're going to bring in their Meganium, and that's fine. I'm just going to throw my Frenzy Plant. I don't really care if they have a bunch of energy on me right here, because it's not going to really do anything to Skarmory. Bring in Skarmory, bring in my Shift Tree, swap out, take out the Azu in the back. Always a bad time for the opponents when they go against this line. I'm just going to drop the double Leaf Blades. They're probably not going to shield this. Yep, and then that's pretty much GG's. And then Haunter lead, not too bad. I like Haunter lead because you swap in Shift Tree, they have to swap out, so they're always going into a Shift Tree with energy. But this is actually kind of similar to like a Season 2 line or Season 1 line with Registeel and Haunter. My guess is they might have a Zoomer on the back. That's a very common combo. So they go for the Flash Cannon bait, which, you know, isn't ideal, but with Shift Tree with energy in this situation can do very well against Registeel. And then let's see if they go for the Flash Cannon again or not. I am kind of low, so I am going to shield this. And they do go for another Flash Cannon. However, because Flash Cannon takes way more energy now, I can just go straight Snarl down. This is a very dangerous spot for my opponent to be in, because unless they have like a Togekiss in the back or something, everything's going to hurt from this Shift Tree. So I do go for the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade does a ton of damage to Haunter. They actually swap out to Azu. And so that's not terrible. And then I go for a quick swap to my Meganium right here. I was kind of anticipating that they might hit me with a what do you call it, with the Ice Beam, but also I could load up on energy right here with Meganium. They take me out, and then I go straight for Foul Play. So Shift Tree essentially almost solos their entire team. So for those of you who are wondering how great the Skarmory and Double Grass team still is, it's actually very good in this season. And in my opinion, with Registeel nerfed, I think it's even better in the current meta. And so feel free to give it a shot. I'm still working on some new lines, so I'll release those in a little bit, but I want people to have something to work with for the time being. A big thank you and shout out to all my patrons who have been supporting me. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and share. Subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll see you all next time.